What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Through Your Eternity, Season 3, Episodes 21 22, full season, full series. So in these episodes, everyone's about to graduate middle school, then go up to high school. Misha has moved to some elite school off somewhere. So Yuki he's sad about it, but he finally confesses his feelings. He's rejected, of course. Then all the other boys try to confess, and they all get rejected, of course. So and then the beholder lose is about to lose his memories. He shows Fushi everything about his memories. Now, what happens before this? So Yugi wants to help the humans learn about the Knocker. So Nano, who's possessing Michi, um, basically, so Yuki films videos of her using the Knocker powers to get people used to Knockers. Then when Michi finally does a face reveal, she's kind of harassed by some people, like looked upon weirdly by her classmates, and then chased by two people. But then some fans help her, and Fushi help her escape. And so and then there's like a time jump, and the time jump, that's when the beholder loses his memories, and Misha moves away to form a overseas branch of the Guardians, since the Guardians have gained more interest around the world, due to people being more knowledgeable about the Knockers. And Yuki becomes like the lead researcher in Knockers. He ends up making things like some cream that can prevent infiltration, and he dies of old age. And Fushi kind of lives by himself. He basically is immortal. He doesn't age, but everyone else ages. So he's talking with like an old March who was never able to have kids. Um, apparently she no man could meet her standards. So yeah. Now this season goes up to chapter 165.2. So there are like some chapters that have not been adapted. Now, I think this is where they're ending the series. To my knowledge, there is no season 4 announcement. To my knowledge, I don't know if there will be a season 4. I don't know. But as far as the full, um, these episodes were good. Like it seems like a good spot to end it. Now, if they want to continue on, they can. But and it seems like they are ending the series here. To my knowledge, there is no season 4. But this overall, like these episodes were good. This season has been decent, not the level of seasons 1 and 2, not even close. But they're still good. But yeah, I thought and the overall series is pretty good. Like yeah, so overall, I thought this was you know good show, a good show. I recommend watching it, and hope maybe we'll get a season 4 to adapt the rest of the chapters. Yeah, which there's like, let's see, there since some are done in like you know halves. I don't know how many chapters are left. Like, because I don't know how many were done in halves, like part one and part two. So they could like actually get like another season. They could get another like 20 plus episode season out of this. But who knows if they will. If they do, great. If they don't, well, it's a good ending spot where they reached. Yeah, overall good show. Recommend watching it. Blue Miburo season 2 episode 14, full season and full series. So in this episode, this deals like the aftermath of Serizawa's death. So obviously, Neo's still dealing with the fact that he's the one who killed Serizawa, and so Kondo does tell Hajime and Hijikata about it, and so you have while it's going on, so Neo's still doing it, and then like with Kondo in charge of the Miburo, so basically have some extreme tactics were taken to deal with any remaining Chosu spies, and doing stuff for the shogunate, like basically some pretty brutal attacks. And Neo's not happy about how brutal things have gotten because and he tells Hijikata, if this is what was going to happen, we would have been better off sticking with Serizawa. And so, and later Taro confronts Neo, saying that basically that he knows that Neo killed Serizawa, and like basically Taro's kind of forgiven him for it, and like he asked Neo how he went if he went out if he was cool when he went out, and Neo said that Serizawa was the coolest, and that basically, and then there's the whole thing, Neo's time able to help move on, so Taro later guides him to where Hajime is like helping like some people work on like something basically like there was like a storm or something, and basically like Hadri's trying to help out, do some relief work, and Neo and Taro help out. And Hadri says that that Taro and Neo may have outdone him during the whole Serizawa stuff. Basically, Taro like kind of beating Hajime, and Neo being the one to finish Serizawa off. So like Hadri says that he ain't gonna be outdone again, which is probably true for a portion in a way because you know Neo and Taro are fictional characters. Hajime is actually a historical figure. Like, so his name is actually in historical records. Taro and Neo are completely fictional. They're not like historical figures. But I mean, not every member of the Senshingumi are mentioned. So, Hijikata tries to get Kondo to wear like Serizawa's jacket. Kondo keeps saying no, but then Hijikata tears the sleeve off, tells Kondo that, he'll wear part of it in order to help share the burden with Kondo. So then, and then what happens is that like so the Miburo or the Mibu uh, or the Mibu Roshigumi, which is like that's the original that was the name. So so basically then the Mibu Roshigimi or the Miburo becomes the Senshingumi. Basically, the big like basically the police force of samurai. Like that's what they're called now. And that's in the manga for Blue Vibro, which is Blue Wolves of Mibu. Um so basically that means that we've finished as far as manga is concerned. Like the anime has adapted part 1, which was the first 14 volumes. So part 2 is the Senshingumi arc, which has not been adapted. To my knowledge, there is nothing about season 3, which would be at least start adapting that. But overall, I thought it was a good episode, good way to finish the you know finish this season. Basically everyone's kind of like been able to adapt to Serizawa's death because obviously there were tensions building up, and a bunch of new members like come join the Miburo before it becomes Senshingumi. Basically, kind of like a lot of them were interested in joining the group that Serizawa was a part of. So there's like, seems we know like ill will between anyone. Yeah, so but like, obviously, there's still some stuff that's gonna happen because like regards to the Senshingumi, some stuff's about to go down based on history. Because you had it's the Bakumatsu period, and then basically like with the with the because the Tokugawa shogunate, basically like there's some stuff going on because you have the Meiji government. Um, yeah, is gonna come in the end of the Shinshingumi's like period of existing. Like, cause we're in like so this is 1863. That is where this season is ended. Is the year 1863. Basically, however much is covered by the manga whenever it gets to it. I've not read the manga, so I don't know how much is covered, but if it gets to 1869, like if it gets to 1869, like with the especially with the Battle of Hakodate, which is how the Boshin War ended, basically ends the Senshingumi. So like it's gonna things are about to get very tragic if they adapt more of the manga and if the manga does go to the Boshin War, crap is about to go down. And I do hope we get third season because I want to see a lot more of this history. I mean, obviously it's anime. It's historical fiction. There's definitely some liberties that are taken, but for some historical periods events, there is a lot of stuff we don't know, which leaves a lot of room for you know, you know, for some creative liberties. Like, and this is kind of one of those. So yeah, I thought this was a very good episode. Thought the season was very good. How they handled like the assassination, the lead up to Serizawa's death was really good. Like everything about like all the build up to basic everyone was like we got freaking kill this guy, and then how they handled the death of Serizawa, all done very well. As far as it's a good series. Like season two is definitely a lot better than season one. Like season one's like a 7 out of 10. Season two is like an 8 out of 10. But yeah, I thought this was a good series. Hopefully we get a season three. The account episode 12 and full series. So in this episode, so class A, class B are fighting Ashina, and so basically Kasubata tells Soji to contain his flame power, just save it for final attack to burn up Ashina, so they can exercise him because Soji's low on on power. So everyone tries to make an opening. Kasubata and Wager to sync their attacks to make an opening for Soji, but Ashina dodges Shoji's attack, so Soji's pissed, thinking that he even with all the help of of his classmates, he wasn't strong enough to like defeat Ashina. But then Hiyori arrives. She had possessed a that giant ice statue that Ashina had made of himself. but the sculpture breaks and she falls, but Ashina basically he's like traumatized of seeing the ice sculpture of himself breaking because of how like narcissistic he is, but that ends up giving Urusagawa an opening to you know use her slime power to restrain Ashina, and then Soji's able to hit Ashina with his attack, and Ashina is defeated, and basically Wagiri says he'll finish him all Ashina off to take responsibility as like Class B president. And so tells Ashura to tell him everything he knows about Sad Boy K. And Ashura says, basically he's sad that he's gonna die, and then like all Wagiri says that all of his social media accounts were deleted. And Ashura's mad, like pissed because like he like sees like all it, memory of him is gone. I mean, all your classmates are like, no, hey, we got a picture of you, we'll think of you, and then you see Sablo Case Fire then surrounds him because Asha was about to say something like basically reveal stuff, but then and like then Wagri like does a slash on Asha to basically pull him out of his misery. And before he fades away for good, Asha says, Sablo K's dream is to make the land of dead accounts. Because he had said that before the fire period that he's like that Salvacade was going to take him to paradise, and that's when the fire happened, and why he killed him. Like so now all the experts are wondering what the land of dead accounts means. So then everyone's picked up, taken back to the school, and then there's like a celebration because basically anytime someone dies on a mission, there's like a there's a cell there's like a little party thrown to like celebrate the life of the whoever died, and then for those who survived to celebrate their survival. And Cyborg K is pissed about Ashina's death because he was a good dead account to have on the side. And then and so when it happens is so all the students they go into the hot springs together. As in all, I mean all like both male and female. Now they're covered up, like because basically, I guess the girls were told they were gonna basically. So Kusama had an idea to do like mixed bathing with everyone, and Urusagawa and Hiro were like, what? No, no, no. But then and Kusama was like, no, no, and basically said it's gonna be covered up. So then that's why everyone has to wear some form of like something because. Well, I find the whole hot springs thing, group bathing thing, to be weird anyway. I always found that to be weird. But and like so there's some humor in that like in that scene but everyone talking about how it's they're all basically it's like a mixed hot spring right there, so that bit's funny. And then and then so then what happens is so the other you have the class B teacher, um so he he talks to so like Soji, you know and says like that you know basically like he says that he was the leader of the the group that wanted to so wanted to get Soji to not be in um and So it's like Nanzo, the teacher, tells Soji he was the leader of the group of teachers that did not want Soji to be at the school, but he says after seeing his efforts, he says that they basically all apologize, and Nanjo says that no one's gonna dispute Soji being there, and that is the end of the and and basically there's a question, okay, who's gonna take part in the operation to deal with Sad Boy K? Soji says during the whole hot spring scene that they can with them all working there to defeat Asha, this could be a victory for all of them. But Wire's like, no, no, y'all won. Y'all won. No, we're like, take the win. And so, at least a possibility about what will happen with with that the I guess the attack on Sabloke, because honestly it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Like if we get a second season, we'll see what happens. I have seen some spoilers about what happens after this. Some, not all, like specifically regarding Sad Boy K. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode, good way to end the season. Yeah, as far as the series, it's a very good series. Like it is very good. Definitely one of the best of the year. Not the best anime of the year, but it's still a good show. But yeah, I thought it was a good season. Hopefully we get season 2. Scum and the Brave, episode 12. So in this episode, so the battle at that basically that party ends. Jogamine's like was injured, but then like basically her eye was gouged out, and then but then like it regenerates, kind of like something similar to like what happened with E4. Jogomine has no idea why. She's just as surprised, and so Yashiro's wondering if like if Jogomine's father you know was involved with E4, and basically, and since Jogomine doesn't know, like Yashiro thinks it's something regarding like her father. So like and so we and then yeah, so it's so that's a whole mystery that's being introduced. Okay, something's going on with Jogomine, and then after that, so Endo gets out the academy at like to meet with Yashiro, and basically basically they discuss stuff and Indo's hungry. She says if she want food, Yashiro's okay, that'll be the price of intel or what you want. So he should have been more specific when he said order what you want, because she starts ordering a bunch of stuff, so like his wallet is in pain, basically. Like so she has so Indo has an appetite, and Yashiro asks, basically like has deduced that like Indo was like ex-military, and so Indo does explains her backstory, like how she knows about Nephilim. Basically, she was raised in like a military camp, like and like trained to fight, and I guess she was one of the older like kids, and so soldiers will come across Nephilim a few times, and didn't know that Nephilim would be in groups until a large group attacked like I guess the camp, and so Indo had to lead some of the kids away while the adults were basically getting slaughtered by Nephilim. And then Indo was cornered by one, and then one of her fellow like one of the other kids like took a attack for her and like died. And so like Indo has some and yeah, dude, it's like so like basically like Indo saw a bunch of people she cared about like die. Like all the other kids, seems like she was the only survivor. of the whole, even amongst the kids, like everyone freaking died. Like, dude, like it was freaking sad. Yasha was like, and like Indo starts crying, having talked about her tragic backstory. Yasha tries to cheer her up, and Indo asks for training, like basically tugs at his arm for more train. And Yasha like, no, no. And then you had Jogama and Sarah there looking like basically jealous that Yasha was talking to Indo. And they're jealous when like Yasha gives her a head pat in order to like get her to go away with her. And it's so funny, like so Yasha's like, all right, training. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Pretty brutal with the Indo flashback. I was like, holy frick. And obviously there's mysteries regarding, Jogamine's father, like what involvement he has with E4, how it relates to Jogamine. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Well, and that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.